good.
Club members. Mark just gave me the widest. Hey, yes. It didn't bite his lip, though. Club members, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. I apologize 8,000% for the delay. We have been, as you know, involved in this huge lawsuit, and it's been crazy. And I've been thinking about you guys. I've been thinking about stuff I wanted to share with you. And so I apologize. We're going to get back more frequently. We are. Mark has made me promise it. On the multicultural front, though, we were at our lawyer's office getting ready for a hearing, and I looked around the table, and this goes in the category of I do what we say we all should do, and I look around and I realize it's like every single person in our room was a club member. We had interracial brother Mark. We had Bob Bailey, who is an African-American lawyer who has a beautiful wife, Tanya, and they have two redheaded little black interracial kids, multicultural kids, and Zach, who is our Jew Latino representative, and myself. Every single person in the room, every person being paid, everyone participating is a club member. And so I was like, it matters, people. It matters. So that was just me bragging at some level. But here's something else I'm bragging about. From now on, I want you all to call me King of the multicultural verse. So from now on, it's Your Majesty, because I'm king of the multicultural verse. Why am I king?
Why, Your Majesty?
See, I'm trying to get some help from fucking Mark. Mark's just looking at me like, okay, can you help me out, dude? It's just me and you. Multiculturalism, as you know, I have said from our first show, I said, multiculturalism, it's not just the future, it's the present, it is now. I've said it. I said in our old lead-in, I used to say it's genetics. And it is genetics. And so what's happened in the last 2-3 weeks is just proven it even more to me. And even in the first show, we had Leonard Jackson on, who's a club member who just adamant about race doesn't matter and my kids are, and I'm like, well, you're wrong. I love you, Leonard, though. And he explained to me, he said, so you would hire a club member over a white person or an African-American person and because they're a club member. And I said, well, no, I would hire him over an African-American or a Caucasian because they're a club member, which means they're probably more qualified, means they're more equipped for the world, means that they've looked at things differently, means they can lead differently. All of those reasons is why I'd hire them. And then the truth is, yes, I would hire them just because they're a club member. And so I gave some non-discriminatory reasons, but the truth is I would. And that's what we should do. And I'm adamant about it. Everyone else does it. We should not be the one group that doesn't do it. In fact, it's important not just for us individually, it's important for the country. And I mean that sincerely. You look at what's going on, and one thing we're going to talk about in our next episode, and because we joke a lot, but I'm serious as I can be relative to finances, relative to society, relative to economics. This matters. But I also think relative to safety. When you see, I read this article 2 weeks ago, and it was stunning in the sense that I believed it, and it was stunning in the sense of, man, that seems really a quick advance toward a society that we don't want to be. But they did a study, and it said Caucasian, conservative Caucasians, 40% of them are willing to accept a system of government that is less than democracy. 40% of conservative Caucasians are willing to accept a system of government that is less than democracy. That's only really one other thing. You're either a democracy or you're not. And what this article talked about, it said that and this is the Trump thing. And again, on this show, we've never really been anti-Trump. I don't care. What troubles me and what scared me and worried about this article is it said that this segment of the population is so unhappy about not getting what they want that they're willing to accept non-democratic leaders. That's fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
And if you look,
I think almost in a way, like they almost have, in the fact that if you're just going to always vote for whoever is on the Republican Party, regardless of who they are, Because a lot of the people with conservative values compromise their values when voting for Trump because they're like, we don't agree with this and we don't agree with that. But if you just go for whoever they put up, that's not really democracy.
But here's where I differ with that, and I hear what you're saying is, but real conservatives did not do that, and that's and again, I don't think I'm naive about race, but I know lots and lots of Caucasians who just who the premise of democracy is it's the foundation of this country, and so that's why I was so surprised by the January 6th stuff and how people have responded, because what we're talking about now, this isn't politics. I mean, that's totalitarianism. That is things that shock you. So I think what troubled me about this report was it was ostensibly saying the opposite of, which is what it was saying is it's not about democracy now. It's about some form of racial politics that is not democracy. And so that's the one part where you look to conservative Caucasians and you say, wait a minute, this is an anathema to you. You should be horrified. I mean, this idea that we would allow people to try to bring down our country just because they're Caucasian, it's never been part of us. It has literally never been a part. You know what? That's not true. It's always been a smaller segment. What this article talked about was it's an increasingly large segment.
Yeah.
And it segues right into this vaccination thing where it is stunning to me that we have allowed vaccination to become a political issue. And this is one where I guess on the multicultural front, there's plenty of brothers out there saying some of the dumbest shit you've ever heard. And you're looking at them and you're like, what are you talking about? This is science. These are facts. People are dying. When you have this group, though, this article I read, and where they say people will accept something less than democracy, you look and you see what's happening. I'm reading this book on the whole Trump administration. It's disturbing. And what's disturbing is the number of people who did not say, we're not going to do that. We in America, there are separations of power, and we're not going to cross that line. And people have crossed it. And so when it went into my whole upbeat multicultural thing, which is, by the way, the winter is coming on the issue of race. I believe. It's coming. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's coming because you have Caucasian Americans, a significant portion, who have not policed what's going on, who have not said, wait a minute. I'm for this person, but I'm not for this person over this country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's here's the best example I have. It's like Kamala Harris, where people are you can't criticize her. And one of the things in this show is we're not going to criticize club members unless it comes to issues of national security. Kamala Harris is she's horrible. I mean, she's horrible. There's nothing. She's everything disturbing about who she is. It would be wrong for us to say. I would say this: could she be president? I don't believe that she could be. And because she's a club member, I think it would be wrong for me to lie about that or to not be direct. Donald Trump, what he's doing is horrifying. It's horrifying. I mean, and I guess not Donald Trump. What Donald Trump's doing is fine. It's Donald Trump. It's this percentage of Caucasians who are accepting this premise of something other than democracy. Man, that's scary. And when you start reading some of these books, and there's a new Bob Woodward coming out, we were on the cusp. I mean, we were 3 or 4 people away from the United States Justice Department saying that this election was rigged. Mm-hmm. I mean, you understand there have been, I think, in total 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete. Boom. Multilingual player. 7 documented cases of voter fraud. 6 of them were Republican. This whole idea of this being a rigged election, first of all, as Joe Biden has shown us in the pullout of Afghanistan, he can't rig shit. Trust me. But this idea that it's being so just that it has legs. It's like, man, this was a clean election. It's what we do. We got to be careful. And one of the reasons this multicultural, I read that article and I said, man, dude, we have to be realistic about this. because it's coming. It is coming. It is coming. It is coming. And the question is, you have to be able to insulate yourself. You have to be able to protect yourself in the worst case scenario. It's kind of depressing, isn't it? The world's getting ready to end. Thank God we're multicultural.
Woo!
Right when we take over, that shit blows up. Then they're going to blame
we'll
us.
have that one day where it's like, look, we're all here.
Right. That's exactly
just in time.
Just in fucking time. Man, wouldn't that be ironic? But maybe we can avoid that. And on that front, on the brighter side, the other reason that I was so excited about getting back on was the U.S. Census came out, and the U.S. Census said the largest growing segment of the population, multicultural people. Us. Going back to me being the king of the multicultural verse, I said it, I wasn't bullshitting, and now we have statistical proof that what I said is true. The same quote, now I'm just quoting, not that I'm saying I'm right and I know everything. No, I wouldn't say that. That'd be wrong.
Come on.
But, however, census shows sharply growing numbers of Hispanic, Asian, and multicultural Americans. Again, this is not me, although it sounds exactly like what I said 6 months ago in episode 1. Quote, the single biggest population increase was among people who identified as more than one race. Multicultural. A category that first appeared on census forms 20 years ago and now is the fastest growing racial and ethnic category. First of all, I'm going to read that again so that it sounds like I can actually read. Because the way I did, I mean, it was like, is he sounding shit out?
I know.
The single biggest population increase.
This is our king.
Hey, our king can't read that.
I know. You got to be like how it is with, like every time they do a debate where it's like, wow, he looks presidential.
Right, I got to sound, all right, I got to sound kingdential. Kingly. I got to sound kingly. The single biggest population increase was among people who identified as more than one race. A category that first appeared on the census forms 20 years ago and now, quote, is the fastest growing racial and ethnic category in America today. Now, I'm just telling you, that's a big fucking deal. It's a big deal. It is so significant that it ties into this whole podcast, but it ties into the premise behind it, which is people, it's up to us. It's our time right now. It is literally multicultural, interracial. It's our time right now. We are out in front of everything. It is unique in this culture today where we are the fastest growing. It's not this snail's pace. We are the fastest growing. It's like when we were at Bob Bailey's office. When you look around, it's like, damn, there's a lot of us already. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of us. We should work together. If we do what we've talked about, if it's like, again, on this one case, we put it together, four different club members feeding at the club member trop, Caucasians, Jewish people, club interracial people, all African American, all of us there working to one goal, and it's a good one, and it's us.
Yeah.
This economic, that's just on the data. I have the economic numbers over here because I can't count because I went uno, dos, cuatro, but so I just had the pages messed up. Quote, multicultural consumers are the fastest growing segment of the United States population, already over 120 million strong and increasing by 2.3 million per year. Multicultural populations are the growth engine in the future of the United States. King of the multicultural verse. This is what I'm saying. So you guys from now on, your majesty is cool. Mm-hmm. King, you can say king too. But it's
if you want to be informal.
Right, yeah. But like if we're in public, it's your majesty. Mm-hmm. I'm the king of the multicultural verse. I've said all of this. I mean this shit, dude. I'm not even joking. Mark, I'm getting a scepter next week. I am. I should.
Get a cape. A
cape and that. Yeah. Then I'd be like a king multicultural pimp too, man. If I had a cape and it's like Tina Marie. You don't know her. She's way. She goes, and he's got a cane too. She has that's a line in the song. And he's got a cane too.
Man, you'll just fit in walking around with the other hobos.
I'll just be walking around. That's right. They're like, I'm the king. They're like, who's that weird dude? That's the king of the multicultural verse.
I own you.
I am controlling the world. But I'm telling you guys, and one thing we're going to do more on this podcast is we're going to focus more on us because it really was weird when I was in this law room and I realized everyone in here is a club member, and you wouldn't know it other than me and Mark, but every single person in this room is a club member with multicultural kids, multicultural parents, every aspect of it. And I was like, man, we got to do this more.